Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're actually cracking the code on standardized English tests. You know, it's a crazy fact, but every single year, thousands of completely fluent English speakers fail to get their target scores on these exams. It's totally true. Whether you're taking the IELTS, the TOEFL, the GRE, or really any major language assessment, you need to realize one fundamental truth right now. These tests are strategic games. Yes, sure, they ostensibly assess your English grammar and vocabulary, but more importantly, they're assessing your ability to navigate the test itself. Basically, they're measuring your test-taking endurance. So today, we're going to completely transform how you look at these exams. We're moving away from that simple rote memorization and stepping into the realm of high-level strategy. Let's get right into it.
It's incredibly frustrating, isn't it? You might have perfectly solid English skills. I've seen candidates who can effortlessly write high-level academic essays or speak absolutely fluently with their colleagues in their daily lives, yet they walk into that exam hall and completely bomb the listening section. So why does this happen? Well, it happens because of the environment. The clock starts ticking, the audio begins, and suddenly panic sets in. Palms get sweaty, and the mind just goes completely blank. They try to understand every single spoken word, they freeze in sheer terror when they miss a tiny detail, and they completely fail to manage their time. Essentially, they're treating the exam like a casual coffee shop conversation instead of what it really is, a highly structured, highly deliberate psychological obstacle course.
So, in this explainer, we are going to build your success on 3 key pillars: smart use of prep time, recognizing hidden paraphrasing, and managing stress and focus. Let's dive straight into Section 1, smart use of prep time. Picture this. You're sitting in that terribly quiet exam hall, and the time before the audio actually begins feels like forever. But that is absolutely not just dead time where you sit and wait for instructions. It is a critical window for gaining a massive tactical advantage over the test. You generally get about 30 seconds before a recording starts, and you need a precise chronological sequence to prime your brain. First up, you must read ahead. If you wait for the recording to start before reading the questions, you are instantly behind. Second, underline or circle your keywords with your pencil to anchor your focus. Finally, and this is the real secret sauce right here, predict the answer type. Think about it. If a question asks for a contact number, your brain should already be tuned to listen for digits. If the prompt says the conference will be held in, you know you're listening for a place, a city, or a venue. You're doing the heavy lifting before the speaker even clears their throat. And this brings us to another massive time-saving hack involving the end of a section. When the voice says you have 30 seconds to check your answers, this is your revision time. Now, low-scoring candidates use this time to stare blankly at the answers they just wrote, practically praying that a better, more accurate word will magically appear on the page. High-scoring candidates, they abandon the past immediately. You cannot change what you've already heard. You're allowed to open the next section straight away, so use those 30 seconds to read ahead to the upcoming questions. This is absolutely crucial for parts of the test with long, complex, multiple-choice options. Trying to read 3 long sentences while simultaneously listening to a fast-paced audio track is pretty much impossible for anyone, so steal that revision time from the previous section to get ahead. Moving right along to Section 2, recognizing hidden paraphrasing. Let's look at how this builds your overall strategy. Standardized tests actively try to trick you. They do not want to make it easy for you to simply match a spoken word to a written word. For instance, on your question paper, it might say, "The event was canceled because of poor conditions." But the voice in your headphones will casually say, "We had to call off the event due to bad weather." If you're out there desperately hunting for the exact word canceled, you're going to completely miss the answer and probably start panicking. You must listen for the absolute meaning of the phrase, not just hunt for exact vocabulary matches. The test makers are actively hiding the answers behind synonyms. Paraphrasing isn't just a part of standardized tests, it is literally the fundamental language of standardized tests.
Now, alongside paraphrasing, you have to watch out for the test maker's absolute favorite, slightly devious weapon, the distractor. A distractor is a deliberately designed trap. These test designers know exactly how a stressed brain works, right? The speaker in the audio will mention something that matches your question perfectly, giving you this wonderful, warm feeling of false security. But then, they will immediately change, correct, or entirely contradict it. It's a classic psychological trick. If you hear that first piece of information and enthusiastically lock your answer in way too early, you lose the point entirely.
Let's actually look at a real example of this trap in action. Imagine your test asks, "What time does the library close on Fridays?" And the perfectly pleasant speaker in your ear says, "We are usually open until 8 in the evening, but on Fridays we actually close at 6. If you hear that 8 and immediately write it down, completely tuning out the rest of the sentence, well, you've fallen straight into the distractor trap.
You must always, always keep listening until the speaker completely finishes their thought. People change their minds in these recordings all the time. The final version of the statement is almost always the correct one.
But here's the kicker. Even if you perfectly dodge the distractors, tiny, careless errors can absolutely destroy your overall score. Imagine the pure frustration of knowing the right concept, but losing the point on a technicality. Writing cat instead of the plural cats means you get 0 points. Writing 30 instead of including the $sign for $30 means you failed to provide the unit of measurement. Again, 0 points. And spelling French as F-R-A-N-C-H? Yep, the test is entirely ruthless. 0 points. This is exactly why you have to rigorously double-check your grammar and spelling. If the strict instructions say, write no more than one word, and you write the restaurant instead of simply restaurant, your perfectly accurate listening comprehension is marked completely wrong. Precision is absolutely everything here. And that brings us to our final pillar, Section 3, Managing Stress and Focus.
A typical listening test is around 30 minutes of intense, unbroken, high-stakes concentration. It is a true psychological marathon, and how you manage your mental energy is just as important as your vocabulary size. Honestly, endurance during the test actually starts with how you study and care for your brain weeks beforehand. You cannot cram for deep focus. You need to build a resilient routine. Maintain a brain-fueling cognitive diet. Eat fruits and vegetables to properly fuel your system so you aren't crashing mid-exam. When you're studying, please don't just stare at a textbook for 6 exhausting hours. Break your sessions into manageable 2-hour blocks. Study deeply for 2 hours, then step entirely away for a 15 to 20-minute break. This prevents cognitive overload and sheer frustration. And most importantly, take timed mock tests. Simulating the harsh, real exam conditions repeatedly in your own home is the single best way to dramatically reduce your anxiety on test day.
So, why is test day anxiety so universally high? Well, it all comes down to one terrifying reality. 1. The test is designed to play the recordings exactly one time. You can't hit pause to catch your breath. You can't rewind to double-check a confusing sentence. It plays once, and it is gone forever. When candidates realize they missed a single word, massive, paralyzing panic immediately sets in.
And this leads us directly to the ultimate survival rule of the listening test, which you absolutely must commit to memory right now. Accept the miss and refocus. If you miss a question, you must abandon it instantly. What low-scoring, anxious candidates do is they linger. They sit there desperately trying to figure out the answer they just missed. And while they're stuck in the past thinking about it, the audio continues playing in real time and they completely miss the next answer and the next. It creates this devastating domino effect that can ruin an entire section. You have to stay in control. Accept the loss, take a breath, and radically protect the rest of your score by focusing forward. To maintain that forward momentum, just remember this test navigation flow. The test is highly structured. The answers in the recording will appear in the exact chronological order of the questions printed on your page. You don't need to jump randomly around a map or some chaotic diagram. Find your starting point, hear the answer, write it down, and move exactly to the next question. Trust the sequence entirely. Stay perfectly matched with the pace of the recording. And hey, if you have any completely blank answers left at the very end of the test, guess. Take a wild shot. There is no penalty for wrong answers on these tests. A 25% chance of guessing a multiple-choice question correctly is infinitely better than leaving a blank space that guarantees a 0. You literally have nothing to lose. So, the crucial takeaway from this explainer is that you now know exactly how this game is played. You know how to purposefully prime your brain during prep time, how to skillfully dodge the clever traps of paraphrasing and distractors, and how to maintain the steely psychological resilience required to push through the audio without panicking when things go a bit wrong. The strategies are firmly in your hands now. So, I'll leave you with this question. Will you let the test control you, or will you use this secret playbook to control the test? The choice is entirely yours. Keep practicing, trust your preparation, and I'll see you in the next explainer.